Jiang Che was just an ordinary office worker who loved secretly mocking their ice queen CEO Qin Zhixia during meetings in his mind. She was cold and domineering, and everyone feared her. But one day, Qin Zhixia suddenly gained the ability to hear Jiang Che's inner thoughts. Every sarcastic remark and teasing comment he made about her in his mind. She heard crystal clear. This caused the usually composed woman to frequently lose her cool. What was even more surprising was that she discovered Jiang Che, despite his tendency to slack off, could always accurately spot various business traps. So, she transferred this seemingly insignificant employee to her side as a special assistant. No, Jiang Che's inner monologue became Qin Zhixia's exclusive broadcast. And the story between the two of them grew increasingly interesting amidst mutual teasing. Next, Qin Zhixia's voice was like a scalpel scraping against glasscom, sharp, and devoid of any unnecessary emotion. The air in the conference room seemed to freeze. Beyond the expansive floor-to-ceiling windows lay a bustling city. Yet the atmosphere inside was colder than a Siberian winter. The product manager, who had been called out a man in his 30s, felt a bead of sweat from his temple plop onto the report in front of him, blurring the ink into a smudge stain. Trembling, he stood up to face the queen-like figure at the head of the long conference table, feeling as though he were being subjected to a slow, torturous execution. Qin Zhixia, founder and CEO of Zhixia Group, is famously known in the business world as the Ice Queen. At just 27 years old, she possesses business acumen and a ruthless determination that leave countless veterans in the dust. She never smiles, never wastes words. Her life is like the Patek Philippe on her wrist, precise, expensive, and cold. My time is billed by the second. This is her only mantra. Jiang Che sat in the most inconspicuous corner of the meeting room, head bowed, pretending to be engrossed in doodling stick figures in his notebook. As just another ordinary foot soldier in the planning department, he was merely a background prop at this high-level quarterly review meeting, there to make up the numbers. So, here we go again, President Qin's signature, killing the chicken to scare the monkeys routine. Poor manager Wang, whose proposal got rejected 8 times last quarter, is probably about to get obliterated this time. But seriously, does this woman even have an emotional module? She keeps a straight face all day long, looking like the whole world owes her 8 million. No wonder she's still single at almost 30 with that kind of aura. What man could handle it? She'd probably need a terracotta warrior as a boyfriend just to maintain emotional stability. The coffee in this meeting room is absolutely terrible. It tastes like traditional Chinese medicine. No idea how the admin department procured this stuff. Gotta file an anonymous complaint later. Jiang Che's inner monologue was so rich it could fuel a 100-episode TV drama. Yet on the surface, he remained that quiet, dutiful, even somewhat dull ordinary employee. Just as Qin Zhixia, seated at the head of the table, was about to deliver manager Wang's death sentence, a sudden wave of dizziness struck her temples. She instinctively raised her hand to rub her eyes, her fingertips icy cold. The third point of the proposal, regarding the logic of market penetration, contains a serious fallacy. She spoke, her voice still steady, but only she knew that in her mind. There were now voices that didn't belong to her. The voice, lazy and tinged with casual sarcasm, was so clear it was as if someone had turned on a loudspeaker inside her skull. Oh, here we go. The classic routine. First denial, then criticism, and finally complete rejection. Qin Iceberg's deadly triple combo. Hang in there. Manager Wang. Qin Zhixia's pupils contracted almost imperceptibly. Auditory hallucination. Have you been under a lot of stress lately? She calmly scanned a room where everyone sat stiffly, not daring to make a sound. Only Jiang Che in the corner had his head lowered, his shoulders trembling slightly as if stifling a laugh. Qin Zhixia's gaze lingered on him. Oh no, can't laugh, can't laugh. If Qin the iceberg sees this month's bonus will be feeding the fish. Hold it in. I, Jiang Che, am a professional. That sound. It's happening again. And it seems to be perfectly synchronized with Jiang Che's movements. An utterly absurd thought. Like a bolt of lightning, shattered Qin Zhixia's ironclad rationality. She lifted the coffee from the table with an expressionless face and took a sip. Wow. She drank it. She actually drank that coffee that looked like dishwater. What a tough cookie. Willing to sacrifice her taste buds just to maintain her image. Respect. Respect. Qin Zhixia couldn't hold back the coffee she had just sipped sprayed out. Fortunately, she turned her head in time, preventing that mouthful of dishwater from staining the meeting report worth tens of thousands. The entire conference room was dead silent. All the executives widened their eyes as if they had witnessed Columbus discovering the New World. The always elegant, always composed, always meticulous President Qin had actually lost her composure. Qin Zhixia pulled out a tissue and meticulously wiped the corner of her lips, her stunning face showing no trace of emotion. Yet a faint, suspicious blush crept up the base of her ears. Her mind was undergoing an unprecedented storm. She could hear Jiang Che's inner thoughts. This discovery shocked her more than the prospect of her company going bankrupt tomorrow. Today's meeting, Qin Zhixia took a deep breath, forcing herself to calm down. Ends here. She stood up, the sound of her high heels hitting the floor like the drumbeats of death. Jiang Che. She called his name. Jiang Che in the corner jolted, suddenly raising his head with a face full of confusion and innocence. What the hell? Why call me? Did she find out about me doodling little figures? No way. She can't see from this angle. Oh no, my bonus is gone. Qin Zhixia looked at his "Who am I? Where am I?" dazed expression and listened to the apocalyptic wailing in his mind, feeling an unprecedented sense of absurdity wash over her. In a completely flat tone, she uttered a sentence that sent shockwaves through the entire upper management. Starting tomorrow, you're being transferred to be my special assistant. Huh? Jiang Che was stunned. The entire meeting room was stunned. Special assistant? Me? A slacker like me who earns $8,000 a month and dreams of the company going under just to get severance pay. This woman must have something wrong with her. Could it be? Pink, bubbly, an utterly absurd thought suddenly popped into Jiang Che's mind. She has taken a fancy to me. Qin Zhixia. She turned around expressionlessly, stepped out of the meeting room in her high heels without looking back. Her back remained aloof and proud, her steps steady and firm as ever. Only, if someone could get close enough to see, they would notice her hands clenched tightly, her knuckles slightly whitened from the force. The internal forum of Shenxia Group exploded. Breaking news. Breaking news. The perennial iceberg President Qin actually publicly promoted an obscure planner from the marketing department to be his special assistant during the quarterly review meeting. Really? Which obscure person? Is he handsome? It's that Jiang Che. He is quite handsome, but usually keeps to himself. Like an invisible man. Holy shit. Jiang Che. His proposal last month got rejected for being too laid back, and now he's skyrocketed to the top. Could it be? He has some hidden background. Background? I doubt it. I heard. The way President Qin looks at him is just loaded with meaning. Spill the tea. Give us the details. The flames of gossip burned fiercely. At the eye of the storm, Comrade Jiang Che sat at his workstation with a bewildered expression, enduring the complex mix of envious, jealous, and probing gazes from all directions. He felt like the new monkey at the zoo, the kind that had just learned to do a handstand while taking a shit. Bro Che, you're a legend. His colleague Zhao Lei, a chubby guy with a round face, nudged him with an elbow and whispered with a sly grin, "What kind of dumb luck did you stumble into? Or did you secretly bribe President Qin?" Jiang Che stared blankly and muttered, "I'd love to walk her home, but I don't even know which direction her house is in." So, was it your irresistible charm that conquered our ice queen? Cut it out. Jiang Che waved weakly. With the way I am. It's a miracle she hasn't fired me yet. Though his words said one thing. His mind was in turmoil. Something's not right here. Really not right. I'm just an ordinary office worker with no background, no connections, an average performance. Why would Qin Zhixia promote me? Special assistant. That's a position where you're by her side every day, attending high-end venues and accessing top-secret information. The monthly salary. Damn. HR just sent the transfer notice 50,000 a month. Jiang Che nearly popped his eyes out when he saw the email on his phone. 50,000. He's barely making 8,000 now, killing himself to earn it. This is more than 6 times that amount. This sweet talk is way too intense. There must be something fishy when things go against the norm. What does she want from me? My good looks. Impossible the line of people chasing her stretches from the company entrance all the way to France. My talent. Give me a break. All my talent goes into slacking off. Could it be? Jiang Che's mind began replaying that heart-stopping speculation on loop once again. Could she actually be trying to hit on me? Oh my God. A domineering female CEO falling for me. That plot is so cliché. But if it's Qin Zhixia, I wouldn't say no. She looks like a goddess, has a great figure. And though she's a bit cold, once the lights are off, it's all the same, right? In the office, Qin Zhixia sat behind a massive desk, resting with her eyes closed. She needed time to digest this utterly bewildering matter. She could clearly hear that voice belonging to Jiang Che, conducting one brainstorming session after another in the planning department office dozens of meters away. From "she wants to hit on me" to "which kindergarten our child will attend in the future." It took less than 30 seconds. Qin Zhixia's temples pulsed faintly with veins. For the first time in her 27 years, she felt such an intense speechlessness towards someone. Why did she promote Jiang Che? The reason is simple. Just now at the meeting, after Manager Wang was scolded and left by her, the next presenter was Director Li from the marketing department, a versatile and capable woman. Director Li's proposal is impeccable, from the data to the logic, earning nods of approval from all the executives. Qin Zhixia also thought it was a good idea and was about to approve it. At that very moment, Jiang Che's inner voice spoke. TSK, this proposal looks shiny on the surface, but it's actually a trap. The West District Commercial Consumption Potential Report she cited uses last quarter's data. The latest report has already been released. Due to the relocation of core consumer groups, the potential assessment has been downgraded by 30. She's deliberately using outdated data to paint a rosy picture, trying to shift the risks of the new product line onto the company. And that so-called Hongyuan Group partner sounds impressive, but it's been hollowed out by the bosses, just an empty shell now, barely staying afloat on loans. Partnering with them at this point is practically begging to be taken for a fool. This woman is truly wicked. Qin Zhixia was shocked at that moment. She immediately called a halt to the meeting and instructed her secretary to verify both matters at once. Even minutes later, the results came out. Exactly what Jiang Che said, word for word. If it weren't for hearing his inner thoughts, the company would have fallen into a multi-million-dollar pit today. This discovery made Qin Zhixia's heart skip a beat. Jiang Che, this seemingly ordinary employee, actually possesses such keen insight and intelligence-gathering abilities. No, this is no longer insight, it's practically prophecy. Who on earth is he? Corporate spy? Or a pawn planted by some big shot? Qin Zhixia immediately dismissed these speculations, because she heard it clearly right after this guy finished his internal rant. He immediately followed up with, "So, Should I have tiramisu or mango pomelo sago for afternoon tea? So hard to decide. Would a corporate spy, whose heart is tied to the company's survival, agonize over what to have for afternoon tea? So, the truth is only one. Jiang Che is just a simple, well-informed, sarcastic, lazy genius. Qin Zhixia didn't know how to define him, but she knew that such a person must be kept firmly under her control. His rants are practically a lightning rod guide for the business world. As for the messy junk in his mind, Qin Zhixia opened her eyes, her gaze icy cold. Just consider it, like listening to a crosstalk show. Knock, knock, knock. The office door was knocked. Come in. Jiang Che walked in with a heart full of trepidation. This was his first time facing the legendary Ice Queen alone. Qin, President Qin, you were looking for me. His palms were sweating from nervousness. Well, it's even more stunning up close. The skin, the nose, the lips. But those eyes are terrifying, like the freezer compartment of a fridge. Is she really going to confess to me? How should I respond? Would agreeing right away make me seem too frivolous? Maybe play hard to get. Say, let's start as friends. Qin Zhixia stared at him expressionlessly, but a storm was raging inside her. She suppressed the urge to throw the documents on the table in his face, pulled out a file from the drawer, and pushed it toward him. This is your new contract, along with a confidentiality agreement. Her voice was completely flat. Sign it. From now on, you're my special assistant. You have only one task: stay by my side at all times. Do as I say. Don't ask what you shouldn't. Don't say what you shouldn't. Jiang Che blankly picked up the contract. The glaring 50,000 in the salary column made him swallow hard. Damn, it's really 50 grand. This woman is serious. Always by my side. What kind of outrageous talk is this? Is she trying to keep me as her sugar baby? Jiang Che, a man of 7 feet tall. It's not impossible. Qin Zhixia's nails had already dug deep into her palms. She feared that if she listened any longer, she might not be able to resist the urge to actually throw him off the 33rd floor. Sign or not? She asked coldly, as if delivering an ultimatum. Sign. Absolutely sign. Jiang Che picked up the pen and signed his name with a flourish, terrified she might change her mind. After signing, he raised his head and flashed a smile he thought was charming but actually came off as somewhat ingratiating. President Qin, from now on, I'm your person. Whatever you need, just give the order. Sugar mommy. Hungry, hungry. Food. Qin Zhixia closed her eyes, feeling her blood pressure was about to hit the limit. She took a deep breath and told herself, for the company, for her career, endure it. On his first day as the president's special assistant, Jiang Che discovered that this job was practically a heaven tailor-made for him. Job responsibilities. First, open the car door for Qin Zhixia. Second, make coffee for Qin Zhixia. Third, during Qin Zhixia's meetings, sit behind her like a silent statue. Fourth, that's it. Jiang Che sat in the assistant's office area outside Qin Zhixia's office, legs crossed, using the newly assigned top-tier computer to openly browse forums. Amazing. So amazing. Is this the life of the rich? 50,000 a month just to do this. This isn't work. It's practically a paid vacation. Qin Iceberg looks stunning in that white suit today. Really shows off her figure. TSK. What a shame she's such a cold beauty who never smiles. What is she doing now? Probably looking at those financial statements I can't understand again. So boring. Wouldn't it be better to play a couple of games with this time? In the inner office, Qin Zhixia was reading an urgent document with a furrowed brow. But her reading speed was noticeably slower than usual. because Jiang Che's lively inner monologue was like a persistent earworm, impossible to stop. Not only does she have to deal with a pile of complicated work now, but she's also forced to listen to a slacking employee's tips on loafing and sharp critiques of the boss's outfits. She spent 10 minutes reading a document, barely retaining any of its content, yet managed to memorize all the top 10 unsolved mysteries of the company that Jiang Che had just seen on the forum. For example, why is the company mascot a green frog? Or, for instance, whether the bald IT director has secretly stashed away any private savings. Qin Zhixia felt that her professional competence was facing an unprecedented challenge. Jiang Che. She pressed the intercom button. Here, President Qin. What are your orders? Jiang Che's voice sounded incredibly enthusiastic. Here I come. Finally got some work to do. Let me see which little cutie I'm going to serve. Come in. Make me a cup of coffee. Right away. Soon. Jiang Che walked in with a steaming cup of coffee and carefully placed it on Qin Zhixia's desk. President Qin, your coffee. Qin Zhixia picked it up and took a sniff. It didn't smell like yesterday's dishwater anymore. Aren't I clever? I noticed she rejected that cup of coffee yesterday. So today I specially used my private stash of premium Blue Mountain coffee beans and even ground them myself. Though she doesn't say it, this woman clearly has refined tastes. To win her over, start with the details. First, conquer her stomach. Once she can't live without my coffee, she won't be able to live without me. What a genius I am. Qin Zhixia's hand holding the coffee cup paused slightly. She stared at Jiang Che's face, which practically screamed, "Praise me now," with emotions so tangled they reached their peak. On one hand, this guy is indeed meticulous, and the coffee he brews tastes really good. On the other hand, when will those domineering CEO falls in love with me scenarios in his head finally wrap up? And then, she merely let out a monosyllabic sound from her throat as a form of acknowledgement. Could mean anything. Is it good or bad? Give me a straight answer. Sis, whatever. A woman's heart is as deep as the ocean. Anyway, my job here is done. Time to slack off again. Jiang Che turned around, ready to make a quick escape. Hold it. Qin Zhixia called out to stop him. Is there anything else? President Qin. No way. No way. Could she be planning to? Qin Zhixia took a deep breath, suppressing the urge to hit someone, and pointed to a pile of documents across from her. I'm meeting with President Zhao of Tianyu Group this afternoon to discuss a collaboration. Here are all their publicly available materials from the past 3 years, along with our proposal for this partnership. Review them and give me your thoughts in half an hour. It was a spuro-themit decision for her. She wanted to see whether Jiang Che's remarkable insight was just a coincidence or if there was actually a method to it. Jiang Che's face instantly fell. Damn. Seriously, I actually have to work. Read all these documents in half an hour. Do you think I'm a photocopier? What opinion? What opinion could I possibly have? My opinion is that 3 p.m. is the perfect time to slack off. Definitely not for working. Though unwilling in every possible way, under the oppressive force of a 50th Zandiuan monthly salary, Jiang Che reluctantly picked up the stack of documents with a bitter face, sat down on the nearby sofa, and began to write furiously, while Qin Zhixia handled her own official duties. She listened in on his inner thoughts. Tianyu Group. Into real estate. Huh? Not doing so well these past few years. Right. Let me see. Well, last year's financial report looks so impressive. A 50 increase in net profit. That's gotta be fake. My uncle works in this industry, and he was almost bankrupt last year. How could they achieve such growth against the trend? There's something fishy here. Their accounts receivable are ridiculously high, accounting for almost half of their total assets. This means they haven't sold many properties. Most are just on credit, artificially inflating their profits. A classic case of false prosperity. And this CEO Zhao Tianyu, he's been in quite a few tabloid scandals. Last month, he was photographed partying on a yacht with some young model. How much focus could someone like that actually have on the company? Our current collaboration proposal is to buy that piece of land they own in the east of the city. If I remember correctly, the city plans to build a large waste incineration plant right next to it. It hasn't been announced yet, but my uncle's classmate works at the planning bureau and mentioned it over drinks last time. Holy shit. This Zhao Tianyu is trying to make us the fools who'll take the fall. If Qin Iceberg really signs his contract, we'd lose at least 500 million. Qin Zhixia's grip on the fountain pen tightened more and more as she looked at Jiang Che on the sofa, scratching his head with a constipated expression. Her eyes revealed an emotion called shock for the first time. Financial fraud, the boss's private life, even undisclosed municipal planning. Some of this information would take top-tier commercial investigation teams weeks to uncover, while some of it is virtually untraceable. How did he know? Just by browsing through publicly available materials for a little over 10 minutes. What kind of brain does this guy even have? Half an hour later, Jiang Che walked over with a dejected expression, holding an A4 sheet of paper that only had a few lines written on it. President Qin. I just glanced at it casually and wrote whatever came to mind. Please don't take it seriously. Qin Zhixia took the paper from him. It reads, the financial report is inflated, posing risks to cooperation. The boss is unreliable. Caution is advised. The land in the eastern part of the city has bad feng shui. It's unsuitable for construction. Qin Zhixia. Bad feng shui. What a ridiculous excuse he came up with. So, this is the best I can do. I can't just tell her directly that my second uncle's classmate works at the Urban Planning Bureau. Saying it's bad feng shui, a strong woman like her probably wouldn't believe it anyway. Forget it. I've already warned her anyway. If she really loses 500 million, when the company starts layoffs, I can still get an N1 compensation package. Sweet. Qin Zhixia put down the paper and looked up at him. Her gaze profound. Jiang Che. Here. Do have a deep understanding of feng shui. Huh? Jiang Che was taken aback. What does she mean? Does she actually believe in this? No way. He had no choice but to bluff awkwardly. A little. Just a little. My ancestors were in this line of work. Qin Zhixia nodded, picked up the internal phone, and dialed her secretary. Inform Tianyu Group that the afternoon meeting is canceled. Also, have the legal department prepare. We are going to acquire Hongyuan Group. The secretary on the other end of the phone was stunned. Jiang Che was also stunned. Holy shit. She actually listened to me. Just because I said the feng shui was bad. I'm acquiring Hongyuan Group. That shell company from yesterday. What is she up to? Qin Zhixia hung up the phone, looked at Jiang Che, and spoke slowly. You're right. Zhao Tianyu is unreliable. Rather than partnering with someone unreliable, it's better to make him one of us. Although Hongyuan Group is now hollow, its shell remains, and it owes the bank a huge sum of money. All we need to do is spend a small amount to purchase their debt from the bank, and the entire Hongyuan Group will be ours. Then, under the name of Hongyuan Group, we can report Tianyu Group for financial fraud and malicious deception. A cold, bloodthirsty smile curled at the corner of Qin Zhixia's lips. Zhao Tianyu will beg us to hand over that piece of land. For free. Jiang Che listened in stunned silence. Only one line of text remained in his mind. This woman is just too damn ruthless. Jiang Che realized that ever since becoming Qin Zhixia's special assistant, his life had entered a bizarre and surreal fantasy mode. One moment, he was still terrified about how to take down Tianyu Group without shedding blood. The next moment, he was taken by Qin Zhixia to a high-end shopping mall. Follow me. Don't wander off. Qin Zhixia strode ahead in her high heels, her commanding presence parting the crowd wherever she went. Jiang Che followed like a little lackey, trailing closely behind. What the hell? Instead of strategizing at the company, he's here shopping at the mall. Could it be? He's had a sudden pang of conscience and wants to buy me a reward for my contributions. Let me see. The watches at this store are nice. The belts at that one aren't bad either. Forget it. Just gift me an apartment and not picky. Qin Zhixia's footsteps came to a halt in front of a high-end men's clothing boutique. She tilted her head and gave Jiang Che a scrutinizing look from head to toe. Jiang Che was still wearing his slightly faded plaid shirt, paired with jeans and a pair of sneakers. His entire outfit couldn't have cost more than 500 yuan. What are you looking at? Is there something on my face? Oh, I get it. She thinks I'm dressed too shabbily and that I'll embarrass her if we go out together. Damn capitalists. Even controlling what their employees wear. Where are human rights? Where's freedom? But if the company's footing the bill, I guess that's not so bad. Qin Zhixia listened to the fierce debate in his mind about human rights and public funds, and said expressionlessly to the shopping guide, "Change him out of this outfit." Yes, President Qin. The shopping guide smiled sweetly and led Jiang Che into the fitting room. Half an hour later, when Jiang Che walked out again, all eyes in the store were fixed on him. The well-tailored dark gray suit outlined his tall and slender figure. The pure white shirt, with its top button undone, exuded just the right amount of casualness. The handcrafted leather shoes beneath his feet gleamed brightly. The entire person seemed completely transformed. From the boy next door he was before, he had now become an extraordinary elite gentleman. Damn, clothes make the man, and a saddle makes the horse. The ancients really didn't lie. Jiang Che stood in front of the mirror, looking left and right, utterly satisfied. With looks and a figure like mine, how'd I never notice before? This is literally a stunning beauty sealed away by poverty. Qin Iceberg's taste is pretty good. Huh? Qin Zhixia sat on the sofa, holding a glass of lemon water, quietly watching him. She had to admit that Jiang Che, now dressed in a new outfit, was indeed quite eye-catching. But what caught her attention wasn't his appearance. It was the thoughts he had just revealed in the fitting room. This suit fabric feels so comfortable. Way better than my cheap t-shirts that cost just a few bucks. There's a tag in the pocket. Let me see. 38,000. Holy shit. That's daylight robbery. Just a few pieces of fabric. How can they charge so much? No way. It's too expensive. I can't let her buy this. But if I refuse, would it embarrass her? Would she think I'm ungrateful and fire me? Forget it. Forget it. At worst, I'll just work my butt off to repay her. Yeah, right. I refuse to work myself to death. Got it. I'll just say I'm not used to wearing suits and prefer t-shirts. That way, I won't cost her money or embarrass her. I'm such a clever little devil. However, when he stepped out of the fitting room and saw the devastatingly handsome reflection in the mirror, pretend I never thought any of that. This suit is welded onto me today. No one's taking it off. Qin Zhixia. This man's principles are truly flexible. Charge it. Qin Zhixia handed her black card to the sales assistant. From inside out. 5 sets in total. Jiang Che's eyes instantly lit up like 200-watt light bulbs. Rich lady. Hungry. Food. Noric lady. I love you. Qin Zhixia felt a dull ache beginning to throb at her temples again. Over the next few days, Jiang Che fully experienced what it meant to be second only to one. Above 10,000. He became Qin Zhixia's shadow. When she attended meetings, He sat behind her, listening to business secrets while silently mocking which director's hairline had receded further. She meets with clients. He follows along, watching the big shots toast and clink glasses while silently analyzing who's a smiling tiger and who's a genuine fool. She works overtime, and he has to stay too though in the outer office, playing games on a top-tier computer. Qin Zhixia realized she was gradually getting used to this dual-channel work mode. On one side, there were the respectful and meticulous reports from subordinates in the real world. On the other side, in the spiritual world, there was Jiang Che's unrestrained and wildly imaginative complaints that had nowhere to be placed. President Qin, regarding the land in the west of the city, President Zhao of Tianya Group has contacted us 3 times already, showing a very humble attitude. What do you think? Think my ass. That bastard definitely has ulterior motives, probably still scheming other ways to screw us over. Don't agree under any circumstances. Qin Zhixia, leave him hanging. President Qin, the organizers of the European Fashion Summit next week have sent an invitation, hoping you can attend. Go. You must go. I heard the girls there. The scenery is especially nice. Business trip on the company's dime. Only a fool wouldn't go. Qin Zhixia, book my flight tickets. President Qin, the team wants to secure a major supporting male role for that newly signed young actor. What do you think? Come on, with that guy's acting skills, even playing a wooden plank would be too expressive for him. If we let him perform, the show is doomed to flop. We might as well give the resources to that newcomer Chinku. Although he's not much to look at, I saw a certain drive in his eyes during the company's annual party last time. He's someone who can endure hardship. Qin Zhixia, give the opportunity to Chinku and let the company nurture him properly. The secretaries and directors all looked at Qin Zhixia with awe, as if she were a deity. Director Qin, as decisive and far-sighted as ever. Every decision she made was so precise it was as if she had divine foresight. Only Qin Zhixia herself knew that she was far from having divine foresight. She just carried around a human-shaped bullet screen with her. And Jiang Che gradually grew accustomed to his role as the imperial advisor, although he didn't understand why Qin Zhixia had recently become so amnab. He noticed that whenever he silently wished for something in his heart, things seemed to genuinely develop in the direction he desired. I feel like having Japanese food for lunch today. Half an hour later, Qin Zhixia's secretary reserved the most upscale Japanese restaurant near the company. My shoulders have been a bit sore lately. It'd be great if someone could give me a massage. The next day, the company announced the introduction of high-end massage chairs, placed in the CEO's lounge. I always lose when gaming. If only a pro could carry me. In the afternoon, the IT director, with reddened eyes, was invited by Qin Zhixia into the office and forced to carry Jiang Che. In the game, Jiang Che lay on a massage chair in the CEO's lounge, sipping premium coffee while watching the IT director carry him to victory. He couldn't help but let out a satisfied sigh in his heart. Oh, this feeling of being completely taken care of. This damn sense of security. In the inner office, Qin Zhixia, who was handling documents, had a faint smile on her lips one she herself hadn't even noticed. President Qin, something's happened. Secretary Lin Wei pushed open the door, her face showing a trace of panic, something rarely seen in her. Qin Zhixia looked up from the documents, her gaze as calm as still water. Speak. The news about our plan to acquire Hongyuan Group has somehow been leaked. No, several other investors are competing with us, driving the price up by nearly 30. Qin Zhixia finally furrowed her brows. Acquiring Hongyuan was her crucial move to cut off the enemy's retreat and counter Tianya Group. Only a few top executives in the company knew about this matter. Jiang Che was aware of it. Her gaze subconsciously drifted toward the outer office. Jiang Che was wearing headphones, swaying slightly to the music. Looking utterly carefree, and at peace with the world. Damn. This song is so hype. I'm about to go God mode. Huh? Why did Lin Wei go in there? Her expression looks like the sky is falling. Is the company really going under? What about my N1 severance pay? Qin Zhixia withdrew her gaze. It probably wasn't him. This guy's mind was as simple as a blank sheet of paper, with all his secrets written plainly on his forehead. In that case, there must be a mole among the higher-ups. Check. Qin Zhixia uttered just one word. We're already on it. Lin Wei paused, then added, what's more troublesome is that Zhao Tianyu from Tianyu Group seems to have caught on as well. He reached out to us today, offering to lower the price of the land in the west of the city by 20%, just to secure a partnership with us. Oh, that bastard's learned to be smart. Knows when to cut his losses to survive. Jiang Che's inner monologue chimed in at just the right moment. A 20% price cut amounts to roughly 500 million. He wants to use that 500 million to buy our silence, to keep us from exposing his financial fraud. Quite the clever scheme. But he must have a backup plan. Qin Zhixia's gaze sharpened. She was eager to find out what backup plan Jiang Che could see. What do you think? She asked Lin Wei, but her attention was entirely focused on Jiang Che. Lin Wei pondered and said, Zhao Tianyu is showing weakness here, but it's also a threat. If we don't accept, he might act recklessly out of desperation. Even if we managed to bring him down, we'd end up with a lot of trouble ourselves. I think we should talk to him first. This was the safest business logic. Qin Zhixia nodded but didn't voice her opinion. She is waiting for Jiang Che's Danmu bullet comments. What's there to talk about? Jiang Che's inner voice, full of disdain. People like Zhao Tianyu are like adhesive plaster since they stick. They're hard to shake off. He's lowering prices now, but once the cooperation begins, he'll find countless ways to claw back those 500 million, like inflating project costs, substituting inferior materials, or delaying deadlines. What's more, he'll definitely publicize our collaboration widely, creating the illusion that our midsummer group is endorsing him. With that credibility, he'll then secure even larger loans from banks to fill his bottomless pit. Once he's extracted the bank's money and walked away, that landfill-adjacent land will become a permanent asset of Midsummer Group. By then, there won't even be a place left to cry. A cold sweat broke out on Qin Zhixia's back. Every step of Jiang Che's analysis precisely hit the key points of the commercial conspiracy. Each part is interlocked, with meticulous logic. Could this really be something an ordinary slacker, just thinking about slacking off, could come up with? For the first time, she began to doubt Jiang Che's true identity. Is he truly a prophet? Or a top-tier player who has flawlessly disguised himself? President Qin. Lin Wei called softly when she noticed her prolonged silence. Qin Zhixia snapped back to reality, her eyes regaining their unfathomable calm. Reply to Zhao Tianyu. She paused, then spoke word by word. Tell him to wash his neck clean and wait. Lin Wei's eyes instantly widened. This was a complete break. A fight to the death. Mr. Qin, why are you so domineering today? Afternoon. Qin Zhixia made an exception and didn't handle official business. She sat in the office, quietly observing Jiang Che through the one-way glass. She wanted to see what this man was actually doing when he was slacking off. However, she was disappointed. Jiang Che was genuinely slacking off. He first spent an hour carefully comparing burger meal deals across over a dozen food delivery apps, ultimately choosing the one with the biggest discount. Then, he spent another half-hour watching a compilation of funny videos from a humor blogger, laughing like a fool. The rest of his time was spent playing video games. From start to finish, he didn't look at anything work-related or contact any suspicious individuals. He is just pure, happy, hopeless slacker. A sense of indescribable frustration welled up in Qin Zhixia's heart. Could it be that he's truly just a naturally gifted keyboard warrior? That all his insights stem from his restless soul of sarcasm? Just then, Jiang Che's game seemed to have hit a snag. He clicked his tongue in annoyance, exited the game interface, and aimlessly browsed the web. He opened a stock trading app. So, let's see how much my few thousand yuan in stocks have turned green. He pulled up the candlestick chart, muttering to himself, "This Qiming technology stock is plummeting like a waterfall. Everyone says artificial intelligence is the next big thing. But I think it's more like the madness of a rabid dog. But this trend is quite interesting." Qin Zhixia's attention was instantly captured. Look at the trading volume these past few days. It's been declining on low volume, meaning most people are trapped and no one is selling. Yet, at several key support levels, there are always a couple of inconspicuous large orders quietly propping up the stock price. This indicates that big money is quietly accumulating shares. Moreover, several of their company's founders recently pledged their personal equity to banks. On the surface, it seems like a cash shortage. But when combined with their covert accumulation of shares, they're setting up a scheme. First, they release negative news to suppress the stock price, forcing retail investors to sell in despair, allowing them to scoop up shares at low prices. Once the shares are concentrated, they suddenly announce major positive news, like developing some groundbreaking new technology. Then, the stock price will skyrocket. These capitalists are truly ruthless. No way. I need to sell my few thousand shares quickly, or there won't even be scraps left later. With that said, he actually sold his few dozen shares of Qiming technology. Then, satisfied, he switched back to his game. In the office, Qin Zhixia sat quietly, but inside, a storm was raging. She picked up her phone and dialed a number. "It's me. Help me look up Qiming technology. Use all our connections and resources. I want to know everything about them, especially what they're currently developing." After hanging up the phone, she turned her gaze back to Jiang Che. The man was cheering for the game he had just completed. Qin Zhixia's eyes grew incredibly complex. A salted fish. No, this man is like an iceberg floating on the sea. What you see is always just the tip he's willing to show you. Beneath that calm surface lies a formidable power capable of overturning the entire game. Slowly, she uttered a few words. "This man has something to him." 3 days later, on Qin Zhixia's desk lay two reports. The first was an investigative report about a corporate mole. The findings pointed to the company's vice president, a veteran who had followed her father for many years. He had been caught embezzling company funds and was forced to leak information to competitors. The second was an in-depth investigative report on Qiming technology. The content of the report sent chills down Qin Zhixia's spine. Half a year ago, Qiming Technology secretly launched an artificial intelligence project named Pangdu, which has already achieved groundbreaking progress. Once disclosed, it would be enough to trigger an earthquake of magnitude 8 across the entire tech industry. And now, this secret worth hundreds of billions lay quietly on her desk. All of this stemmed from that man's casual complaints while slacking off. Qin Zhixia gazed through the one-way glass at Jiang Che, who was meticulously applying a screen protector to his phone, and for the first time felt fear. Not just fear. It was terror. It's an instinctive fear of an unknown force. Jiang Che. Who exactly is he? An heir from some reclusive family, out experiencing life, or a member of some mysterious organization with ulterior motives? Or perhaps he isn't even from this world. Countless bizarre thoughts flashed through Qin Zhixia's mind. She realized that her pride in rationality and logic was utterly inadequate when faced with Jiang Che. This film is so hard to apply, it's full of bubbles. Jiang Che's inner monologue interrupted her train of thought. If only had gone to that old man under the overpass who does screen protector's family secret technique. Just $10. Fast and flawless. Huh? Why has Ice Queen Qin been staring at me all day? It's giving me the creeps. She couldn't have noticed I was applying screen protectors during work hours. Could she? No way. I'm a major contributor. Here, what's the big deal about applying a screen protector? Could it be? She actually has feelings for me. Well, it makes sense. A rare man like me, who can slack off with pay while still achieving victory from 1,000 miles away. What woman wouldn't be moved? Qin Zhixia. All right. The fear was gone. That familiar, infuriating feeling of wanting to hit someone had returned. She pressed the intercom button. Jiang Che. Come in. Jiang Che startled. His hand trembled, and another large bubble appeared on the film. He walked into the office with a sigh. President Qin, you wanted to see me. Here it comes. The moment of judgment has arrived. Will it be praise or a salary deduction? Qin Zhixia didn't speak, just pushed the two reports in front of him. Jiang Che froze for a moment, then picked it up in confusion. He first read the mole's report and let out an "oh" after finishing. So it's Vice President Zhang. Not surprising. Just look at his receding hairline, clearly a sign of kidney deficiency. No weight, guilt. Then he picked up the Qiming technology report. The more he looked, the wider his eyes grew. What the hell? Did I actually guess it right? The Pangu project. That's insane. Damn. I sold all my shares a few days ago. Is it too late to buy them back now? This is going to skyrocket to the moon, isn't it? My money, my sports car, my young models. In Jiang Che's heart, a torrential rain of banknotes was pouring down, and he hadn't even brought a bucket to catch them. He was filled with regret to the point of despair. Qin Zhixia quietly observed the expression on his face that screamed, "I've lost a fortune," while listening to the heart-wrenching wails echoing in his mind. She finally confirmed one thing. Jiang Che, he really knew nothing at all. He wasn't some big shot, nor was he a spy. He was just an ordinary slacker with ridiculously good luck and freakishly accurate intuition. This realization made Qin Zhixia breathe a sigh of relief while also feeling a touch of absurdity. All her vigilance, probing, and suspicion these past few days might have just been seen as what crazy thing is the boss up to today in their eyes. What do you think about these two matters? Qin Zhixia decided to continue testing him. Jiang Che put down the report, the grief on his face not yet fully dissipated. Huh? Me? What opinion could I possibly have? What opinion could I have? My opinion is, I want to travel back 3 days and beat the hell out of the version of me that sold those stocks. Qin Zhixia, speak. Jiang Che, pinned under her unyielding gaze, had no choice but to steel himself and speak up. About Vice President Zhang, considering he's a veteran of the company. Maybe we could give him a chance to redeem himself. It'd be best to exile him to Africa to mine. How dare he betray our company? Qin Zhixia, that's not what you're really thinking. What about Qiming technology? Well, Jiang Che's eyes darted around. We absolutely must seize this opportunity. This is an incredible fortune. We should go all in right now. Spare no expense to buy their stocks. Full position. All in. Once the news is out, we'll be the wolves of Wall Street. No, the gods of the share market. By then, Qin the Ice Queen will become the richest woman. And as the top contributor, I should at least get a share of 8 to 10 billion. Right? He cleared his throat and said to Qin Zhixia with a serious expression, President Qin, I think we should wait and see. Qin Zhixia. Jiang Che began his performance. Think about it, such a big deal. If we know about it, other investors must be eyeing it too. Rushing it now would mean high costs and huge risks. Why not let them fight it out first? and then we can reap the rewards without lifting a finger. I'm such a clever little devil. First, I'll tell her not to buy. Then secretly borrow money and bet everything I have. Once I strike it rich, I'll quit my job, living the high life every day. By then, let's see how you, Ice Queen Qin, can keep exploiting me. Huh. I, Jiang Che. I'm going to defy fate and change my destiny. The office was dead silent. Qin Zhixia looked at the man before her, who was smug about his little clever trick and already mentally popping champagne in celebration. Slowly, she picked up the coffee cup on the table. This time, she didn't drink it. Instead, she looked at Jiang Che with a gaze that seemed to see through everything, tinged with a hint of pity. Then, she pressed the intercom button to the chief investment officer. Director Wang, immediately, use all available funds. No upper limit. Buy up shares of Qiming Technology for me. And also, she paused, her gaze resting on Jiang Che's face, still dreaming of striking it rich. Notify HR that Jiang Che, as my special assistant, has performed exceptionally well this month. His bonus is to be doubled. And draft a 3-year special talent retention agreement for him to sign. Yes. Set the penalty for breach at 500 million. Director Wang on the phone. Jiang Che. Wait a minute. Something seems off. Jiang Che felt like he had been tricked. When the HR director smiled like a chrysanthemum and handed him the indentured contract with a penalty as high as 500 million for him to sign, his entire body went numb. Assistant Jiang, congratulations. With Director Qin valuing you so much, your future is truly boundless. Jiang Che gripped the pen, his hand trembling. Boundless future, my ass. This is a fucking life sentence. 5 years. A whole 5 years. The penalty is 500 million. Even if I sold myself by the pound, I couldn't pay it back. Damn that Qin Bingshan. She's ruthless. She's trying to chain me to this company for life. My financial freedom. My high-end escorts. All fucking gone. He really wanted to throw the pen down with a show of defiance and roar. Screw this. I quit. But he glanced at the double bonus clause on the contract. This month's bonus, doubled, would amount to a full 100,000 yuan. Jiang Che's pride instantly crumbled. Forget it. Forget it. A real man knows when to yield and when to stand firm. It's just 5 years it'll pass in the blink of an eye. Besides, working for her doesn't seem so bad. Light workload, good pay, close to home, an afternoon tea every day. 500 million it is. I can pay it back anyway. With a sense of tragic resolve, he signed his name. In the office, Qin Zhixia listened to his entire process of self-persuasion, the corners of her lips curling slightly upward. Can't handle you. The stock of Qiming Technology, like a runaway wild horse, went crazy. On the very next day after Shengxia Group completed its position building, Qiming Technology suddenly held a press conference, officially announcing the Panga project. The field of artificial intelligence witnessed an unprecedented seismic event. Qiming Technology's stock price hit the upper limit for 10 consecutive trading days, and judging by the momentum, it showed no signs of stopping. The entire financial world is in a frenzy. Everyone is asking, who is that mysterious buyer who precisely timed the market bottom and boldly invested billions just before the stock price skyrocketed? Shengxia Group has become legendary overnight. The company's market value doubled in just half a month. The name Qin Zhixia has become nothing short of a legend in the business world. Meanwhile, one of the architects of this legend, Comrade Jiang Che, sits in his office, silently shedding tears as he stares at his stock portfolio. His hesitation for just one day caused him to perfectly miss the optimal entry point. By the time he snapped out of it and borrowed money to dive in, he'd already missed out on At least one Thompson Riviera penthouse's worth of profits. My heart aches so much. I feel like I've missed out on a fortune. No, 10 fortunes. It's all Qin Iceberg's fault. She must have done it on purpose. She knew I wanted to buy it secretly. So she tricked me with a contract. That woman's heart is darker than capital itself. Qin Zhixia listened to his tearful accusations. Yet her mood was exceptionally good. She picked up the coffee Jiang Che had just brewed and took a gentle sip. Today's coffee is exceptionally rich and fragrant. Knock, knock, knock. The office door was knocked. The newly appointed vice president, Chen, walked in. He was the very newcomer Jiang Che had named for promotion in his mind. The facts proved that Jiang Che's judgment was frighteningly sharp. After taking office, Chen could display a composure and boldness that belied his age, quickly stabilizing the mess left by Deputy General Manager Zhang. President Qin. Chen handed over a document. Tianyu Group can't hold on any longer. Zhao Tianyu wants to meet with you for one last attempt. Qin Zhixia took the document and flipped through it. Under the thunderous commercial siege and public opinion offensive of Xinxia Group, the scandal of Tianyu Group's financial fraud was completely exposed. Banks withdrew loans, partners terminated contracts, and the stock price plummeted, pushing the company to the brink of bankruptcy. Location and time. Qin Zhixia asked calmly. Tonight at 8. Guanlong Club. Qin Zhixia nodded. Jiang Che. She pressed the intercom. Get ready. You're coming out with me tonight. Oh ho. Finally meeting that unlucky fellow Zhao Tianyu. Are we? This is going to be interesting. I must go. Guanlong Club. Huh? I heard all the wait staff there have long legs. I mean, the scenery must be quite nice there. Qin Zhixia's gaze turned a few degrees colder. Night at the Guanlong Club. In the opulent private room, Zhao Tianyu sat on the sofa. In just half a month, he seemed to have aged 10 years. His hair had turned significantly grayer, and his face was gaunt with exhaustion. Gone was the spirited confidence he once radiated. Upon seeing Qin Zhixia enter, he hastily stood up, forcing a smile that looked more painful than tears. Qin. President Qin. You're here. His gaze fell on Jiang Che behind Qin Zhixia, a flicker of confusion flashing in his eyes. Qin Zhixia took her seat at the head of the table, her aura as cold and formidable as ever. President Zhao. Speak directly. My time is precious. Zhao Tianyu's cheek twitched as he took a deep breath, adopting an extremely humble posture. President Qin, this time I've fallen. I admit it. The land in the west of the city. I'll give it to you for free. I can also transfer 30 of all my shares without compensation. I only beg, President Qin, to be merciful and leave me a way out. He spoke with tears streaming down his face, looking utterly pitiful. Jiang Che stood behind Qin Zhixia, but in his heart, he was wildly criticizing the scene. Keep acting. Crocodile tears, I don't believe a word of it. This guy has a recorder hidden under the table, and his right hand is constantly in his pocket, probably pressing the record button on his phone. He's trying to gather evidence of coercion from Iceberg Qin to leak to the media, wage a PR war, and to drag everyone down with him. TSK. Still not being honest even at this point. What a little rascal. Qin Zhixia picked up the teacup, gently blew on the steam, her eyes showing not a ripple of emotion, as if she had already seen through everything. She set down the teacup, its collision with the table producing a crisp, clear sound. Mr. Zhao, she spoke slowly. Before you beg me for anything, why not? First take out what's under the table and in your pocket. Zhao Tianyu's face turned deathly pale in an instant. The air in the private room seemed to be sucked dry in that moment. The color drained from Zhao Tianyu's face at a visible rate. and beads of sweat the size of peas broke out on his forehead. His hand in the pocket froze. How did he know? This can't be. His plan was flawless. Qin Zhixia watched his ghostly expression and curled her lips into a mocking smile. She lifted the teacup to her lips but did not drink, merely letting the rim lightly brush against them. The gesture was elegant, yet carried a lethally oppressive air. Behind her, Jiang Che was inwardly bursting with joy. Huh, did you see that? That's the queen's disdain. Zhao Tian, you must be feeling like an idiot now, trying to play dirty, only to be seen through by our President Qin at a glance. So satisfying. Absolutely thrilling. I just love seeing these villains get outsmarted. But how did Ice Queen Qin know? Did she bring some anti-eavesdropping device? Doesn't seem like it. Hiss. This woman is becoming more and more mysterious. Qin Zhixia set down her teacup, her gaze turning icy. President Zhao, my patience has its limits. Zhao Tianyu's psychological defenses completely collapsed. Trembling, he pulled out his phone from his pocket, then tore off a small recording device hidden beneath the table. President Qin, I was wrong. I lost my mind. Please be magnanimous and give me another chance. With a thud, he actually knelt down directly. A once powerful tycoon who could summon wind and rain in the business world now looked like a stray dog with its tail between its legs. Jiang Che shook his head disapprovingly from behind. If I had known this would happen, why did I do it in the first place? But how will Qin Bingshan deal with him? Given her personality, she'd probably send him straight to prison and throw away the key. Well, it's about time he went in to work the sewing machines and contribute to society. However, Qin Zhixia's decision once again defied Jiang Che's expectations. Get up. She spoke softly. Zhao Tianyu froze. Jiang Che also froze. What the hell? Just letting him off like that doesn't seem like her style at all. Qin Zhixia looked at Zhao Tianyu and said slowly, Tianyu Group will go bankrupt, but you won't. I'll give you a sum of money, enough to live comfortably for the rest of your life. But there's one condition. Zhao Tianyu, as if clutching at the last straw, nodded eagerly. Name it. Name it. I'd agree to 100 conditions, let alone one. I want you to do something. Qin Zhixia's body leaned slightly forward, her voice dropping to an extremely low whisper, as if carrying the temptation of a devil. I want you to go to Jinghai Group. The moment the words Jinghai Group were uttered, not only Zhao Tianyu, but even Jiang Che's heart skipped a beat. Jinghai Group is truly a behemoth in the domestic market, several tiers stronger than Xinxia Group in terms of power. The most crucial point is that Lu Jinghai, the chairman of Jinghai Group, was Qin Zhixia's father's greatest business rival back in the day, and also the indirect culprit behind her father's depression and eventual demise. This is an open secret known throughout the entire business world. Holy crap. So Qin, the Ice Queen's target from the very beginning, wasn't some small fry like Zhao Tianyu, but the great white shark Lu Jinghai. She didn't bring down Tianyu for revenge, but to subdue Zhao Tianyu. Although Zhao Tianyu's company is about to collapse, his connections and resources remain intact. Moreover, he's extremely familiar with Jinghai Group's business model. Sending him to Jinghai as a mole would be like plunging a sharp knife straight into Lu Jinghai's heart. What's this move called again? Using a tiger to devour a wolf. No, it's more like raising a dog to bite someone. Too ruthless. How on earth does this woman's mind work? Jiang Che felt a chill run down his spine. He thought he had already held Qin Zhixia in high regard, but it turned out he had still underestimated her. Her chessboard was far larger than he had imagined. Zhao Tianyu clearly understood Qin Zhixia's intentions as well. His face filled with fear and struggle. Go undercover for Lu Jinghai. Isn't that just asking for death? Lu Jinghai's methods are 100 times more ruthless than Qin Zhixia's. But if I refuse, he glanced at Qin Zhixia's unfathomable eyes and shuddered. If he didn't agree, he might not even make it out of this door today. I'll do it. Zhao Tianyu gritted his teeth, as if mustering every ounce of strength in his body to utter to these two words. A faint smile of satisfaction finally appeared on Qin Zhixia's face. The smile was faint, yet like a poppy blooming in the dark night, beautiful, yet filled with deadly danger. Jiang Che looked at her smile, and his heartbeat inexplicably skipped a beat. Damn it. Damn it. When this woman smiles, she's just too fucking gorgeous. Even though she smiles like a villain, why do I feel a little addicted? Am I developing some strange fetish? Qin Zhixia listened to his internal self-reflection, and the smile at the corner of her lips deepened. She stood up, looking down at Zhao Tianyu. Pleasure working with you. With that, she turned and left without the slightest hesitation. Jiang Che hurriedly followed, exiting the private room. The corridor outside was brightly lit. Jiang Che walked behind Qin Zhixia, watching her slender yet upright figure, his emotions unable to calm for a long time. This woman is calm, wise, powerful, and carries a hint of mesmerizing danger. She's like a whirlpool. Once you get close, you're inevitably drawn in. So, working for a boss like her, who knows if it's a blessing or a curse, feels like I could be sold out by her at any moment and still end up counting the money for her. But Jiang Che stole a glance at her flawless profile. Seems quite thrilling. Just then, Qin Zhixia suddenly stopped in her tracks and turned around. The two stood close enough that Jiang Che could even catch the faint, chilly fragrance emanating from her, reminiscent of a pine forest after snowfall. Jiang Che. Yes. Just now, Qin Zhixia looked at him, her gaze carrying a hint of scrutiny. Were you, perhaps, a little afraid of me? Jiang Che's heart skipped a beat. How does she know? Was I that obvious? Damn it. I can't let her think I'm afraid of her. Or how am I supposed to work under her in the future? He immediately straightened his back and put on what he thought was a righteous expression. But in reality, it looked a bit silly. How could that be? President Qin, you're so brilliant and resourceful. I admire you more than words can express. Qin Zhixia quietly stared at him without saying a word. Jiang Che felt a chill run down his spine under her gaze. What does she want? Could she be planning to silence me? After all, I've overheard such a huge secret. Is it too late for me to run now? Just as Jiang Che's inner monologue was playing out scenes of how to safely descend from the 33rd floor, Qin Zhixia suddenly took a step closer to him. The distance between them instantly narrowed to an extremely intimate degree. She reached out her hand and gently straightened his tie, which had become slightly crooked from his nervousness. Her fingertips, slightly cool, inadvertently brushed against his Adam's apple. Jiang Che's body froze instantly. His mind went blank. All he heard was Qin Zhixia's voice, carrying a hint of elusive amusement he had never heard before, whispering softly in his ear, "Don't be afraid. From now on, I'll have your back." Jiang Che felt like he was floating, from leaving the Guanlon Club to boarding that Rolls-Royce, all the way until the car stopped in front of his shabby apartment building. His entire being remained in a state of soul-detached bewilderment. Who am I? Where am I? What am I doing? Qin Zhixia's action and words just now were like a depth charge, detonating towering waves in the stagnant lake of his heart. Was she flirting with me just now? Absolutely. Adjusting my tie and saying she'd take care of me. Isn't this the classic scenario from domineering female CEO novels? Oh my God. Could she really? Jiang Che's heart was pounding wildly, feeling as if he was about to take off on the spot and soar shoulder to shoulder with the sun. Get out of the car. From the driver's seat, Qin Zhixia's icy voice poured over him like a bucket of cold water, dragging him down from his fantasy-filled clouds. Oh, okay. Jiang Che snapped out of his daze, quickly unbuckled his seatbelt, and pushed the car door open to step out. Standing outside the car, he gazed at Qin Zhixia's indistinct yet stunning profile through the window, his heart filled with mixed emotions. This woman, one moment she was an aloof ice queen, the next a strategic mastermind of the night. And now, she had transformed into a bewitching enchantress. Just how many faces did she have? President Qin. Then, I'll head up. Drive safely on your way. Jiang Che stood by the car, somewhat at a loss. Qin Zhixia didn't respond, but instead unbuckled her seatbelt. Then, under Jiang Che's stunned gaze, she pushed open the car door and stepped out. You? Jiang Che was dumbfounded. Her? Why is she getting out of the car? Could it be? She's going to walk me upstairs. No, she's coming upstairs with me. A man and a woman alone, sharing a room. Isn't this moving too fast? I'm not mentally prepared yet. I don't mind. But shouldn't we start with a pure romantic relationship first? Qin Zhixia listened to the fierce debate in his mind about what was pure and what wasn't, feeling the veins at her temples twitch merrily once again. She really wanted to pry open this guy's head to see what was left inside besides dirty thoughts. I'll walk you up. She spoke coldly, interrupting his wild thoughts. Oh, no need. Jiang Che quickly waved his hands. President Qin, you can just drop me off here. I can go up by myself, no need to trouble you. Just kidding, how could he let a goddess of her caliber step into his dump of a rented apartment? That would be nothing short of blasphemy against a goddess. However, Qin Zhixia didn't give him any chance to refuse. She glanced at the rundown residential building, its walls covered with ivy and the streetlights flickering intermittently, her brows furrowing slightly. I said, I'll walk you up. Her tone brooked no argument. Jiang Che, it's over. The Queen's command cannot be disobeyed. My unwashed stinky socks, my instant noodle cups, my innocence. Jiang Che could only wail inwardly, grit his teeth, and lead Qin Zhixia into the pitch-black stairwell. The motion sensor light in the hallway works intermittently, entirely at its own whim. Jiang Che walked ahead, stomping his feet heavily with each step. Hey, huh? Iggle piggle. Macca packa. He mentally dubbed his own sound effects. Qin Zhixia followed behind, listening to the childish voiceover in his mind, feeling as if her worldview was being repeatedly refreshed. Finally, they reached the 6th floor. Jiang Che took out the key, his hand trembling, and with the solemnity of someone marching to the execution ground. He opened the door. A wave of familiar scent, characteristic of a single young man's dormitory, a mix of instant noodles, takeout, and a faint trace of sweat assaulted their senses. Qin Zhixia's frown deepened. She stood at the door, not entering. Jiang Che smiled awkwardly and began to tidy up in a fluster. President Qin, please, make yourself at home. Let me get you a glass of water. With that, he rushed into the kitchen, rummaged through a pile of unwashed dishes, pulled out what looked like the cleanest cup, and rinsed it over and over again. This water, can she drink it? Will it give her diarrhea? Forget it. Diarrhea is better than dying of thirst. Qin Zhixia watched his guilty as a thief demeanor, and suddenly, an unfamiliar emotion welled up in her heart. A bit funny, also a bit heartbreaking. Is this really the place where that man, who can see through billion-dollar scams at a glance and stir up storms in the business world with just a few words, lies? No need, she spoke, her voice softer than usual. I came up here to talk to you. Talk? About what? Jiang Che, holding a water glass. Frozen place. No way. Is she really going to discuss life? Ideals? and maybe even romance with me right here. This environment is so unromantic. Qin Xia ignored the barrage of thoughts in his mind and got straight to the point. Let's move. Huh? The company has several executive apartments in Riverside Elite that have been vacant. You'll move there tomorrow. Riverside Elite. Jiang Che nearly dropped the water glass in his hand. That's the most exclusive high-end residential complex in the city. Rumor has it that buying a single unit there costs at least 8 figures. Holy shit. Holy shit. Holy shit. What kind of divine treatment is this? They're giving me a place to stay. A golden house to hide a beauty. She's planning to keep me in a golden cage. President, stop this. I'm not that kind of person. Unless you add another car. Qin Zhixia felt she had reached her limit of patience. She took a deep breath, pulled out a set of keys from her bag, and threw them onto the dirty shoe cabinet by the door. The red Ferrari downstairs is yours now, too. Company provided. Consider this. Your reward for helping the company earn tens of billions this time. After speaking, she glanced at the room where she didn't want to stay a second longer. I'll have the driver pick you up at 8 tomorrow morning. Pack up all your belongings. With that, she turned and walked away, the sound of her high heels gradually fading into the silence of the hallway. Only Jiang Che remained, holding a water cup, standing at the door. Utterly bewildered, he glanced at the Ferrari keys on the table, then at his less than 40 square meter rented apartment. He felt as if he were dreaming. It took him a long time before he suddenly realized. He rushed to the balcony, and with all his strength, shouted in his heart at the car that was almost disappearing downstairs. President Qin, so generous. I love you. Inside the Rolls-Royce that had already left the residential area, Qin Zhixia's grip on the steering wheel tightened slightly. The corners of her lips uncontrollably curled upward. Jiangwan EP. The top-floor duplex with 360-degree panoramic floor-to-ceiling windows. Jiang Che stood by the window in his silk pajamas, holding a glass of 82 vintage ice cola, gazing down at the city's myriad lights. So, he let out a sigh, one that was both content and hollow. Such is the life of the wealthy, so simple, unadorned, and dull. Just think, Jiang Che. A week ago, I was still a corporate drone squeezing onto subways, eating instant noodles, and praying daily for the company to go bankrupt. No, I'm living in a mansion worth hundreds of millions, driving sports cars worth millions, with hundreds of thousands in bonuses sitting in my bank account. These dramatic ups and downs of life are truly exhilarating. He swirled the ice cubes in his glass, feeling like he had already reached the pinnacle of life. The only regret is that this spacious 300 square meter house feels a bit too quiet with just him living alone. Qin Bingshan is really something. She arranged for me to stay here. So why doesn't she move in herself? Oh, right. She lives across from me. Jiang Che remembered now when he was moving in yesterday. The driver told him that President Qin lives in Unit A, right across from him. Being near the water, one gets the moon first. But it seems she hasn't returned yet. Is she on a business trip? Just as Jiang Che was lost in his thoughts, the door opposite suddenly clicked open. However, the person who stepped out wasn't Qin Zhixia, but rather a woman wearing a baseball cap and a blackface mask, bundled up tightly. The woman was tall and curvaceous, though her face was hidden. Just the sight of those expressive, peach blossom eyes peeking out was enough to tell she was undoubtedly a stunning beauty. Oh, something's going on here. Jiang Che's gossipy spirit instantly flared up with burning curiosity. Who is this? How could there be another woman in Qin Iceberg's house? Could it be her best friend? A relative? Wait, the way this woman walks, and her demeanor, why does she look so familiar? The woman stepped out of the room, cautiously glancing around before carefully closing the door behind her. then turned to press the elevator button. The moment she turned around, Jiang Che's eyes widened in shock because he saw her remove her mask, revealing a face that could topple cities and nations. Holy shit. Isn't this? Isn't this the famous celebrity? Gu Panchi, the one who starred in that Sword and Fairy love song drama and became insanely popular, trending on social media every single day. Why would she be coming out of Qin Bingshan's house? Could it be that the two of them? Jiang Che's mind instantly conjured up an indescribable, dramatic tale of love and hate between an ice-cold female CEO and a top-tier celebrity. Thrilling. So thrilling. No wonder Qin Iceberg has no interest in men. Turns out she, just as Jiang Che's thoughts were spiraling uncontrollably into the abyss. The elevator arrived with a ding. Gu Panchi stepped inside. Jiang Che was still leaning against the window, not quite satisfied yet. This piece of gossip is too BG, can't handle it alone. I need to share it with someone. No, no. This is the boss's secret. I can't just blab about it. But I really want to say it. At that moment, his phone rang. It was Qin Zhixia calling. Jiang Che jolted and quickly answered the call, his voice brimming with respect. Hello, President Qin. Qin Zhixia's cool voice came through the phone. Moved in. All moved in. The place is amazing. Thank you, President Qin. Glad you like it. Qin Zhixia paused, then added, I'm on a business trip to Europe for a week. Keep an eye on company matters while I'm away. Don't worry, President Qin. I'll make sure everything's taken care of. The boss is on a business trip, which means the tiger is away from home for this whole week. I can let myself go wild. The company is my home. Slacking off depends on everyone. Qin Zhixia fell silent for 2 seconds on the other end of the phone. Jiang Che. Here. I can hear it. Huh? Hear what? Jiang Che was taken aback. What did she hear? Did she hear my pounding heartbeat? Qin Zhixia felt her blood pressure rising again. It's nothing. Just remember. Don't cause any trouble for me. With that, she hung up the phone. Jiang Che held his phone, looking utterly baffled. This woman always speaks in half sentences. So mysterious. But she went to Europe. So what's the deal with Gu Panchi? Could it be hiding a star in a golden house? TSK. The world of the rich is truly incomprehensible. Jiang Che shook his head and decided not to dwell on it, opting to enjoy his luxurious mansion life first. He turned on a massive smart TV, ready to watch a movie. Just open the video app, and the splash ad featured Gu Panchi's flawlessly beautiful face from every angle. She endorsed a newly launched perfume with a tagline, for you, 1,000 times over. Jiang Che stared at the woman on the screen, her alluring eyes and noble demeanor, then recalled how she had sneakily emerged from Qin Zhixia's doorstep earlier. Something just felt off at this moment. On a private jet flying to Europe, Qin Zhixia hung up the phone and rubbed her throbbing temples. She had known all along that leaving Jiang Che alone would inevitably lead to some trouble. She glanced at the woman beside her, who was holding a tablet and intently reading a script, and said, Panchi, I need to tell you something. Gu Panchi raised her head, revealing a face that could drive any man wild. She was the woman who had just walked out of Qin Zhixia's house. What's wrong, Zhixia? Her voice was sweet and soft. My new assistant seems to have misunderstood our relationship, Qin Zhixia said with difficulty. Misunderstanding. Gu Panchi blinked her beautiful peach blossom eyes, her face full of curiosity. What did he misunderstand? Qin Zhixia fell silent. She couldn't very well say that Jiang Che thought the two of them were a couple. Could she? Gu Panchi was her childhood best friend and also a signed artist under the entertainment company owned by Xinxia Group. to avoid paparazzi. Gu Panchi often secretly stayed at Qin Zhixia's apartment, which had never been publicly disclosed. This was the biggest secret between them. Unexpectedly, on the very first day, Jiang Che happened to witness it. Never mind. Qin Zhixia ultimately chose to give up explaining. Anyway, don't go to my apartment for now. Why? Gu Panchi was puzzled. Because Qin Zhixia gazed at the sea of clouds outside the window, her eyes deep and unfathomable. My new neighbor. He has something special about him. The days when the boss wasn't home were simply heaven for Jiang Che. Every day, he drives that flashy red Ferrari to work, then walks into the CEO's office under the envious and resentful gazes of the entire company, closes the door, and begins his blissful slacking off life. With Qin Zhixia absent and no one to supervise him, he becomes even more unrestrained. In the morning, he listens to Diyun Club's crosstalk performances using the CEO office's top-tier sound system. At noon, he orders a luxurious takeout meal to enjoy while browsing gossip forums. In the afternoon, playing games, watching movies, and when tired, taking a nap on the leather sofa in the lounge. Life is more comfortable than that of an emperor. Oh, this decadent capitalist lifestyle is really too good. If only Qin Iceberg would never come back. No, 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 that won't do. If she doesn't come back, who's going to pay me? Let her come back occasionally, at least to pay me before leaving again. Far away in Europe, Qin Zhixia, who was in the middle of a video conference with the CEO of a French luxury brand, nearly snapped the pen in her hand. She swore that once she returned, she would make Jiang Che's workload 10 times heavier. No, 100 times more. That afternoon, Jiang Che was feeling a bit bored from slacking off and started wandering around Qin Zhixia's office, looking here and there. This office is way too big, it's even larger than my old home. All the books on this shelf are in English and French. Can't understand a single one. Just for showing off, right? Huh? What's this? His gaze was drawn to a photo frame in the corner of the desk. It was a very small, inconspicuous frame, placed with its back facing outward, hidden behind a pile of documents. Jiang Che's gossipy spirit was once again ignited. He stealthily moved closer, picked up the photo frame, and turned it over. In the photo was a girl with a radiant, sunny smile. She appeared to be around 17 or 18 years old, dressed in a simple school uniform, with her hair tied up in a high ponytail. She held a basketball in her arms, and a light sheen of sweat from exercise still lingered on her face. Her smile was so bright, it seemed capable of melting all the ice and snow of winter. Jiang Che froze. Who is this? Somewhat resembles Iceberg Qin. No, impossible. How could Qin Bingshan, that perpetually frozen iceberg, possibly be smiling so happily? This absolutely can't be her. But then, he took a closer look. The girl in the photo, her eyebrows and facial features were practically identical to Qin Zhixia's, as if carved from the same mold. One is like summer, passionate and radiant. The other is like winter, cold and distant. Damn, is this really the Ice Queen Qin from high school? Was she like this before? What exactly happened in between? How did she transform from a sunny young girl into the current extinction master Tai? For the first time, Jiang Che felt a purely genuine curiosity about Qin Zhixia that went beyond work and fantasies. He placed the photo frame back in its original spot, but his mind remained unsettled for a long time. Suddenly, it dawned on him that the seemingly untouchable, omnipotent, and even slightly intimidating woman might just be an ordinary person with her own story. A week later, Qin Zhixia returned. Jiang Che drove his Ferrari to the airport to pick her up. Qin Zhixia emerged from the VIP passage, still dressed in a perfectly tailored suit. her large sunglasses covering most of her face. Her commanding presence was so overwhelming that the surrounding passengers instinctively gave her a wide berth. Jiang Che stepped forward and took the suitcase from her hand. President Qin, welcome back. You must be tired from the journey. His attitude carried a hint more sincerity than before. After not seeing her for a week, she seems even more beautiful. You look a bit tired, with dark circles under your eyes. Negotiating business in Europe must be quite exhausting. So, being a boss isn't easy either. Qin Zhixia listened to the subtitles in his mind, no longer filled with complaints, but carrying a hint of concern, and felt a warm current flow through her heart. She took off her sunglasses and glanced at Jiang Che. Has the company been running smoothly lately? No, everything's fine. Jiang Che patted his chest in assurance, except for the fact that I turned your office into an internet cafe. Everything's great. Qin Zhixia. Well, the touching moment lasted only 3 seconds. Returning to the apartment at Zhangwan Yiping, Qin Zhixia stepped out of the elevator, with Jiang Che following behind, carrying the suitcase. President Qin, I'll take my leave then. Before Jiang Che could finish his sentence, he saw the door to Qin Zhixia's room suddenly open. The popular superstar Gu Panchi, dressed in an adorable pink bunny pajama set, emerged rubbing her sleepy eyes. Zhixia, you're back. She yawned, her voice soft and sweet. Then, she saw Jiang Che standing behind Qin Zhixia. Their eyes met. The air froze. Jiang Che. Gu Panchi. Holy shit. A 10-level alarm instantly went off in Jiang Che's mind. Why is she still here? Still dressed like this? Didn't Qin Bingshan tell her not to come? Damn it. Damn it. Damn it. I've stumbled upon my boss's earth-shattering secret. Is she going to silence me for good? Gu Panchi's drowsiness was instantly scared away. She stared at the man at the door handsome enough to make both gods and mortals envious. But with eyes full of I think I just learned something I shouldn't have and her brain short-circuited. Who the hell is this? Didn't Zhixia say she hired a new special assistant? How? Did you even bring it home? Could it be? An equally absurd thought also popped into Gu Panchi's mind. At the scene, only Qin Zhixia remained calm, but her heart was already in turmoil. She could hear the thoughts of two people simultaneously. From Jiang Che's side, what do I do? What do I do? Is it too late to pretend I'm blind now? From Gu Panchi's side, oh no, Xixiathi's eternal iron tree has finally blossomed. Who is this man? He's way too handsome. No way. I have to vet him for her. Qin Zhixia felt like her head was about to explode. She took a deep breath and mustered all her strength to squeeze out a few words. All of you, get inside. In the living room. 3 people. 3 different expressions. Jiang Che lowered his head, eyes fixed on his nose fixed on his heart, trying to shrink himself into a ball, pretending to be a harmless potted plant. See no evil. Hear no evil. I know nothing. I saw nothing. Oh my God. Gu Panchi in pajamas is just too adorable. Those legs, so fair and long. Amoeba. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Gu Panchi sat on the sofa, her beautiful peach blossom eyes unabashedly darting back and forth between Jiang Che and Qin Zhixia. Something's up. There's definitely something going on. Zhixia's gaze at him is off. Still, I see. But there's something in it. What was his name again? Jiang Che. He's really good looking. Great physique, too. But he seems a bit dense. No, I have to test him. As the eye of the storm, Qin Zhixia felt utterly overwhelmed. No, she not only had to deal with real-life awkwardness, but also simultaneously process the massive influx of inner broadcasts from 2 channels. She felt like a schizophrenic commander monitoring 2 battlefields at once. Cough. Qin Zhixia cleared her throat. deciding to break the awkward silence. Pointing at Gu Panchi, she introduced her to Jiang Che in a tone as stiff as reading a report. This is Gu Panchi, my friend. Then, pointing at Jiang Che, he said to Gu Panchi, him, Jiang Che, my assistant. Jiang Che immediately bowed and nodded. Hello, Miss Gu. I've long heard of your reputation. Goddess. Living one. Even more beautiful than on TV. Gu Panchi also flashed a sweet, professional smile. Hello there. Assistant Jiang. Friends. Assistant. Who are you kidding? What kind of boss brings a male assistant home? What kind of friend casually wanders around someone else's house in pajamas? There must be some shady, undefeatable dealings going on here. Qin Zhixia. She decided to give up on treatment. Panchi, didn't you say you had a schedule today? Qin Zhixia tried to change the subject. Oh, it was canceled last minute. Gu Panchi said with a smile. Perfect timing, I am hungry. Zhixia, let's order takeout. As she spoke, she took out her phone and naturally leaned closer to Jiang Che. Assistant Jiang, what do you like to eat? Shall we order together? A fragrant breeze instantly enveloped Jiang Che. It was that kind of sweet, very high-end perfume scent. Jiang Che's face flushed red in an instant. He was so nervous that he couldn't even speak properly. I don't care. Anything is fine. Oh my God, she's so close to me. I can see the mole on her neck. Is she testing me? Yes, she must be testing me. I, Jiang Che, am one of President Qin's people. I absolutely cannot be tempted by beauty. I must demonstrate my loyalty, my steadfastness. Gu Panchi watched his flustered appearance, his face red as a monkey's bottom, yet still trying desperately to maintain the facade of a righteous gentleman, and nearly burst out laughing inside. This little assistant is just too innocent. So amusing. Tease him a bit. She deliberately leaned in a little closer. Oh, this Japanese restaurant looks great. Assistant Jiang, do you like salmon? Her voice was soft and sweet, like cotton candy. Jiang Che felt his defenses were being fiercely assaulted. Subconsciously, he wanted to nod. Just then, Qin Zhixia's icy voice rang out. He's allergic to seafood. Jiang Che. Gu Panchi. Jiang Che froze. When did I become allergic to seafood? How come I didn't know? I even ate a huge portion of seafood baked rice yesterday at noon. Gu Panchi was also stunned. How does Zhixia know he's allergic to seafood? How could she know so clearly? Could it be? They've already. Gu Panchi's gaze instantly became profound and meaningful. Qin Zhixia remained expressionless as she took a bottle of water from the fridge, twisted it open, and took a sip. She certainly knew Jiang Che wasn't allergic, but she just didn't want to see him standing so close to another woman, even if that woman was her best friend. The moment this thought emerged, Qin Zhixia herself was startled. Since when had she become so petty? Oh, I see. Gu Panchi's eyes rolled as she came up with a new idea. She pointed to another shop on her phone. What about this Sichuan restaurant? Assistant Jiang, can you handle spicy food? Before Jiang Che could answer, Qin Zhixia's voice drifted over again. He has a weak stomach and can't eat spicy food. Jiang Che. I have a weak stomach. I have an iron stomach. Last time I ate extremely spicy hot pot for 3 days straight and was completely fine. Gu Panchi's smile froze completely. She looked at Qin Zhixia, then at Jiang Che. The atmosphere grew even more delicate. It's over. It's over. Now even jumping into the yellow river couldn't wash me clean. Jiang Che wailed inwardly. Ice Queen Qin is staking her claim. But I see you as my boss. How could you actually want to hit on me? I treated you like a brother. You? Gu Panchi's inner monologue was equally dramatic. Got it. I completely understand now. Zhixia is jealous. I've known her for over 20 years and I've never seen her like this before. This Jiang Che is definitely her Achilles heel. Having figured this out, a knowing anti-smile appeared on Gu Panchi's face. She put down her phone, stood up, walked over to Qin Zhixia, and affectionately linked arms with her. Oh well, since Assistant Jiang can't eat this or that, let's just forget about it. She blinked at Jiang Che, smiling like a cat that got the cream. Assistant Jiang, you've worked hard today. It's getting late. Why don't you head back first? I still have some girl talk to share with our Zhixia here. Jiang Che was politely shown the door, standing in the hallway, listening to the expensive mahogany door click shut behind him. He still hadn't quite processed what had happened. So, I've been kicked out, used and discarded, killing the donkey after it's done grinding the grain. Capitalists truly have no heart. He grumbled a couple of complaints in his mind, then took out his phone and ordered an extra-large portion of spicy stir-fry hot pot for delivery, along with a side of salmon sashimi. If you won't let me eat, I'll eat anyway, and I'll post it on social media to make you all drool with envy. Inside the room, Gu Panchi clung to Qin Zhixia like an octopus, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Speak. Hurry up and speak. What's going on between you and that little assistant? Confess now. Leniency for those who confess. Severity for those who resist. Qin Zhixia was so shaken that she felt dizzy, and she irritably pushed the other person off of her. Nothing's going on. You're overthinking it. Am I overthinking? Gu Panchi's voice instantly rose an octave. Qin Zhixia, do you think I'm blind? Look at how you were just now. Like a mother hen guarding her food. That poor assistant just wanted something spicy to eat, and you wouldn't let him. Even said his stomach couldn't handle it. The last time I saw you care about someone like this was when your dad was sick. Qin Zhixia's body stiffened slightly. Don't talk nonsense. Her voice turned cold. Gu Panchi also realized she had said the wrong thing and quickly wiped the playful smile off her face. She sat down beside Qin Zhixia and gently held her cold hand. Zhixia, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have mentioned your uncle, but I'm genuinely happy for you. Gu Panchi looked at her with sincere eyes. Since your uncle passed away, it's been so long since I've seen you so full of life. You used to be like a pre-programmed robot, precise, efficient, but emotionless. But just now, I saw you. You faltered because of that Jiang Che. Qin Zhixia's heart felt as if something had lightly pricked it. Confused. Yes, she was confused. From the day she suddenly could hear Jiang Che's inner thoughts. Her orderly, unchanging life trajectory was completely thrown into disarray. He was like a comet that had barged into her meticulously ordered universe without rhyme or reason, dragging a long tail of complaints and nonsense. It crashed recklessly, throwing all her planets and orbits into disarray. But this chaos didn't displease her. Even, there was a trace of novelty, a warmth that made her want to indulge in it. Zhixia. Gu Panchi's voice pulled her back from her thoughts. Do you like him? Qin Zhixia's heart skipped a beat. Like him? Does she like Jiang Che? This thought felt unfamiliar to her. Yet it made her flustered. She didn't know what liking someone meant. Her life had always been about objectives, plans, execution, and outcomes. I don't know. For the first time, she showed a look of confusion in front of Gu Panchi. I only know that he is very special. It seems like he can see through everything. The company's crises, the schemes of our rival, she can foresee them all in advance. But then again, he's like a fool, always thinking about random nonsense in his head every day. I need him. Qin Zhixia looked at her palm, where it seemed the warmth from adjusting Jiang Che's tie still lingered. I need his abilities to help me accomplish what I have to do. Gu Panchi listened quietly. She knew Qin Zhixia all too well. The need she spoke of might not merely be a matter of capability. Then, Gu Panchi asked, cautiously, if one day he loses that ability, would you still need him? Qin Zhixia froze. The question was like a key, suddenly unlocking the box in her heart that she had deliberately ignored all along. What if she could no longer hear Jiang Che's inner thoughts? He would revert to being that ordinary, mistake-prone, even somewhat dull little employee from the planning department. Would she still keep him by her side? Would she still pay him a monthly salary of 50,000? Would he still, because he wanted to eat Japanese food, ask his secretary to book a restaurant? Would he still, because he was afraid of her, say to him, I'll cover for you? The answer. Qin Zhixia realized that her heart was even more unsettled. For the first time, she began to doubt herself. Was she truly just using Jiang Che? Or, in the room across the hall, Jiang Che was sitting cross-legged on the carpet, scrolling through his phone while eating a spicy hot pot. In his social media feed, the photo he had just posted, a table full of delicious food, had already garnered dozens of likes. He was happily browsing when suddenly, his phone dinged with a WeChat notification. It was from Qin Zhixia. What does she want with me? Didn't she say she had some girl talk to share? Jiang Che opened the chat window. There was only one brief sentence. Tomorrow, come with me to a place. Jiang Che, where to? Qin Zhixia, the cemetery. Jiang Che's hand holding the phone froze. The cemetery? What are you going to the cemetery for? Tomorrow. Doesn't seem like a special day. Suddenly, his mind flashed back to the photo frame he saw in Qin Zhixia's office that day. That girl with a ponytail, smiling as bright as the sun. The uncle that Gu Panchi inadvertently mentioned just now. A thought slowly took shape in his mind. He put away his playful demeanor and, for the first time, responded with two words in an extremely serious tone. Okay? The next day, the sky was somewhat overcast. The black Rolls-Royce glided smoothly along the road leading to the outskirts of the city. The atmosphere inside the car was somewhat oppressive. Qin Zhixia, dressed in a black trench coat, sat in the back seat, silently watching the scenery rapidly receding outside the window. Her face no longer held the usual coldness and detachment, leaving only a faint, lingering sorrow. Jiang Che sat in the passenger seat and, for once, didn't silently complain in his heart. He could sense that Qin Zhixia was very different today. She was like a hedgehog that had retracted all its spines, revealing the softest, most vulnerable belly beneath. The car came to a stop in front of a cemetery halfway up the mountain. It was very quiet here, with only the sound of wind rustling through the pine trees. Qin Zhixia stepped out of the car, holding a bouquet of white daisies in her hands. She walked ahead, with Jiang Che following behind. The two walked one after the other along the cobblestone path. Finally, Qin Zhixia came to a stop before a gravestone. Embedded in the gravestone was a black and white photograph. The man in the photo was gentle and refined, wearing a pair of gold-rimmed glasses, his eyes filled with wisdom and kindness. He was the former chairman of Shengxia Group, Qin Zhixia's father. Qin Haixing. Qin Zhixia gently placed the flowers in front of the tombstone. She stood there quietly, gazing at her father's photo for a long, long time. The wind lifted the strands of hair on her forehead, revealing her slightly reddened eyes. Jiang Che stood not far away, not disturbing her. This was the first time he had seen Qin Zhixia in such a vulnerable state. In his memory, she had always been strong, indomitable. But now, she was just an ordinary daughter missing her father. So, she has moments of vulnerability too. Jiang Che sighed softly in his heart. Her dad is the person in this photo, right? He looks so kind. How could this happen? I remember reading on the forum that her dad suffered from depression. And that's why, back then, she must have still been in college, alone, carrying the weight of such a large corporation, while also facing the oppression of a cunning old fox like Lu Jinghai. All these years, she must have had it really tough. Jiang Che stared at Qin Zhixia's slender figure, and for the first time, a feeling welled up in his heart, one that could be called heartache. He suddenly had a strong urge to walk up to her and give her a hug. Tell her, don't be afraid. From now on, I'm here for her. But he knew he couldn't. Right now, he was just her assistant. After a long time, Qin Zhixia slowly crouched down. She reached out her hand, gently wiping the dust off the tombstone. Her movements, tender beyond words. Dad, she spoke, her voice carrying a hint of hoarseness. I've come to see you. The company is doing well. I've been taking good care of it. Those who once bullied us, I'm making them pay. One by one, Zhao Tianyu has fallen. Next will be Lu Jinghai. Don't worry. Soon, very soon, I'll avenge you. Her voice grew softer and softer, her shoulders beginning to tremble slightly. Jiang Che saw glistening tears slide from the corners of her eyes, dripping onto the cold tombstone. She was crying. Qin Zhixia, who was always composed, always strong, was crying. Jiang Che's heart felt as if it were tightly gripped by an invisible hand. He could no longer hold back. He stepped forward, took off his suit jacket, and gently draped it over her shoulders. Qin Zhixia's body trembled slightly. She raised her head, her eyes reddened, and looked at Jiang Che. Her gaze filled with astonishment and a hint of helplessness. Don't catch a cold. Jiang Che didn't look at her, but kept his eyes on the tombstone as he spoke softly. His voice was very gentle. Your dad must have hoped that you would take good care of yourself. Qin Zhixia looked at him, her lips trembling slightly. But no words came out. She simply lowered her head even further. Jiang Che stood quietly by her side, like a tree, shielding her from the biting cold wind that blew from all directions. He did nothing, said nothing. But Qin Zhixia felt that this was the warmest moment she had experienced in all these years since her father left. On the way back, Qin Zhixia leaned back in the rear seat and fell asleep. She seemed genuinely exhausted. Jiang Che glanced at her peaceful sleeping face in its rearview mirror, completely free of defenses, and felt a tumult of emotions in his heart. Suddenly, he remembered the photo frame he had seen in the office that day. The girl who smiles like the sun. He seems to have understood, a little, why that girl became the way she is now. Because the mountain that once sheltered her from the storm has fallen. So, she could only turn herself into another, colder, harder iceberg. Jiang Che let out a soft sigh. Silly, he murmured silently in his heart. From now on, I'll shield you from all storms. The car moved steadily forward. The glow of the setting sun streamed through the window, casting a gentle, golden halo over Qin Zhixia's face. Even in sleep, the furrow between her brows seemed to ease slightly. Qin Zhixia fell ill after returning from the cemetery. High fever, unconsciousness. Jiang Che was terrified and rushed her to the hospital overnight. The doctor said it was due to prolonged overwork and extreme emotional distress, which caused her body to collapse suddenly. For the next 3 days, Jiang Che became a full-time caregiver. He stayed by the hospital bed, never leaving her side, feeding her water, wiping her face, applying physical cooling methods, handling urgent documents delivered from the company. For the first time, he realized how exhausting it could be to take care of someone. But he didn't utter a single complaint. Gazing at the woman on the hospital bed, her face pale, lips chapped, and brows tightly knit, his heart ached with nothing but tenderness. This woman is an iron-willed fool. She acts invincible every day. Yet when she falls ill, She's more fragile than anyone, burning up like a furnace, still talking in delirium. Qin Zhixia, in her unconscious state, kept intermittently calling out someone's name. Dad, Dad, don't go. Jiang Che held her burning hand, whispering soothing words in her ear over and over again. Don't be afraid. I'm here. I won't leave. It was unclear whether she heard him or not. On the third afternoon, Qin Zhixia finally woke up. The first thing she saw upon opening her eyes was an enlarged view of a chin with faint stubble. Jiang Che was lying by her bedside, fast asleep. He was still holding her hand in his. The sunlight streamed through the window, casting a glow on his face, his long eyelashes creating a small shadow beneath his eyelids. Asleep, he no longer wore his usual playful and carefree expression, appearing instead quiet and dependable. Qin Zhixia's heart skipped a beat. Gently, she tried to pull her hand away. As soon as he moved, Jiang Che woke up. He suddenly raised his head and saw Qin Zhixia with her eyes open, looking pleasantly surprised. You're awake. How do you feel? Still uncomfortable. Do you want some water? I'll call the doctor. He stood up in a flurry, rising so abruptly that his vision darkened and he nearly stumbled. Qin Zhixia instinctively reached out to steady him. I'm fine, she said, her voice still slightly hoarse. Jiang Che steadied himself and looked at her, his face openly filled with concern. You're running a fever of almost 40 degrees and still saying it's nothing. He grumbled in frustration, then hurried to pour her a glass of water. Wait here. I'll go get the doctor right away. Watching his retreating figure, Qin Zhixia felt her eyes grow warm. It had been so long, so very long, since anyone had taken care of her like this. After the doctor's examination, he said there was no serious problem anymore, and she could be discharged after staying one more day. Jiang Che went to handle the discharge procedures. In the hospital room, only Qin Zhixia remained alone, leaning against the headboard. She gazed at the blue sky and white clouds outside the window, feeling as if the entire world had somehow become different. She suddenly realized that she could no longer hear Jiang Che's inner voice. From the moment she woke up, that incessant, annoying yet amusing barrage in her mind had vanished. Her world had returned to its former silence. That kind of suffocating silence. Qin Zhixia's heart suddenly sank. Was it because of this hot fever? Had this inexplicably gained ability vanished just as inexplicably? She didn't know whether she should feel relieved or disappointed. Jiang Che finished the paperwork and walked in, carrying a light meal of plain congee and side dishes he had just bought. Here, have something to eat first. He set up the small tray table and carefully laid out the congee and dishes one by one. Qin Zhixia looked at him, tentatively, in her heart, asked a question. Jiang Che. No response. Her world was completely silent. Qin Zhixia's heart sank little by little. An immense, unprecedented panic seized her. So, she had long grown accustomed to his presence, accustomed to that voice, the only vibrant, colorful sound in her cold world. She was afraid of losing him. No, not afraid of losing his abilities. She was afraid of losing him as a person. What's wrong? Doesn't suit your taste? Jiang Che asked with concern. Noticing she hadn't touched her chopsticks, Qin Zhixia raised her head and looked at him, into those clear, concerned eyes of his. Suddenly, she wanted to know. Without the mind-reading ability, would he still stay by her side? Would he still, as he had imagined countless times in his heart, take the compensation and leave with a carefree attitude, living that luxury life with young models he dreamed of? Jiang Che, she spoke, her voice carrying a faint tremor she hadn't even noticed herself. After I'm discharged from the hospital, let's talk. Jiang Che's heart skipped a beat. Let's talk. Oh no, oh no. This is about settling scores after the fact. She must have found out about me using her office as an internet cafe while she was away. No, that's not right. Looking at her expression, so serious. Could it be? Is she going to confess to me? Jiang Che's heart was instantly thrown into turmoil again. However, this time, the storm raging in his mind was something Qin Zhixia could no longer hear. All she saw was the ever-changing, vividly expressive look on his face. She gave a bitter smile. Perhaps it was for the best. Without that disadvantage, face it with dignity, no matter the outcome. She was ready to accept it. The next day, she was discharged from the hospital. It was still that black Rolls-Royce. Jiang Che was driving, while Qin Zhixia sat in the passenger seat. The car drove to the riverside. The two got out of the car and walked side by side along the riverside path. The wind blew gently, carrying the dampness of the river. Jiang Che. Qin Zhixia stopped, turned around, and looked at him with an unprecedented seriousness in her eyes. I need to tell you a secret. Jiang Che also stopped, gazing at her, his heart pounding with nervousness. Here it comes. She's going to say it. She's about to say, I like you. What should I do? Should I act a bit more reserved? Qin Zhixia took a deep breath. A while ago, I had a little accident. I can hear people's thoughts now. Jiang Che. The expression on his face froze. What? What the hell? Mind reading? For real. This is like sci-fi. Qin Zhixia looked at his dumbfounded expression, as if struck by lightning, and continued speaking. So, all those messy thoughts in your mind. I heard everything, including how you think I resemble the extinction nun and the coffee tastes like dishwater. Including, you're thinking about getting young models at the club, and also waiting for the company to go bankrupt so you can get compensation. It also includes, Qin Zhixia's face turned slightly red. You think I want to hit on you. Jiang Che's mind exploded with a buzz. He felt that he had never been so humiliated in his entire life. He wished he could find a crack in the ground to crawl into right now, or simply jump into the nearby river and end it all. So, he had been streaking all along. He looked at Qin Zhixia, opened his mouth, but couldn't utter a single word. He was finished. His life was completely over. He would be fired, pursued for the 500 million yuan in breach penalties. He would end up homeless, begging on the streets, just as Jiang Che had begun to envision the miserable life of his old age. Qin Zhixia's voice sounded again. But after that illness, this ability seems to have disappeared. I can't hear it anymore. She looked at him, her eyes carrying a trace of hope and vulnerability that even she herself hadn't noticed. So, Jiang Che, no, I want to hear you say it. From your own mouth. Your true feelings. Jiang Che was completely stunned. He looked at the woman before him. She was no longer the aloof and unapproachable Ice Queen. She was just Qin Zhixia, standing before him with all her defenses down, completely honest and vulnerable. All the sarcastic remarks, all the nonsense, all the wild thoughts in his mind vanished in that instant. Only one thought remained, the clearest and most genuine. He looked at her, at those beautiful eyes of hers, as if brimming with starlight. Then he smiled, a smile as bright and radiant as the young man in the photo frame she had seen that day. What's on my mind? He took a step forward and gently grasped her slightly cold hand. What's on my mind is, President Qin, you're absolutely right. I just wanted to wait for you to make a move on me. No, would you still give me this chance? Qin Zhixia was stunned. Then she smiled too, laughing, like the first thaw of ice and snow, when all things come back to life. She didn't answer. Instead, She simply reached back and held his hand tightly. A gentle breeze blew past. Jiang Che's ears seemed to hear once more that familiar, cool yet faintly amused voice. "I've heard your heart's voice.